She's obviously, though, talking to Keith Ellison behind the back of the government. The people don't get to see what she's doing, but she's acting in an official capacity.
This is a community-supported legal education channel. Find out how you can support our mission at the links in the description below.
All right, so the next story we're going to talk about involves this 48-page indictment against Asha Natif Tribble, Donald Keith Ellison, Jovanda Patterson. Who the heck are these people? Who cares? Next. So these are the people behind FEMA during Hurricane Maria. FEMA Deputy Regional Administrator, former president of Cobra Acquisitions, and another FEMA employee have been indicted for conspiracy to commit bribery, honest services wire fraud, disaster fraud, and other charges. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Asha Natif Tribble, a FEMA Region 2 Deputy Regional Administrator, Donald Keith Ellison, former president of Cobra Acquisitions, and Jovanda Patterson, aka Jojo, former FEMA Deputy Chief of Staff, have been indicted and arrested on charges of conspiracy to commit bribery of public officials, acts affecting a personal financial interest, false statements, disaster fraud, honest services wire fraud, travel act violations, and wire fraud, announced U.S. Attorney Rosa Emilia Rodriguez Velez of the District of Puerto Rico. The Department of Homeland Security, Office of Inspector General, conducted the investigation with support from the FBI. The indictment, returned Tuesday, September 3rd by a federal grand jury in the District of Puerto Rico, includes 15 counts against the following individuals, who we all said above. The indictment alleges that the defendants used Tribble's positions in FEMA to benefit and enrich themselves and defraud the United States. Following the passage of Hurricane Maria over Puerto Rico on September 20th, 2017, Tribble, Ellison, and Patterson came to Puerto Rico as part of the recovery and restoration of Puerto Rico's electric grid. You might remember that there were lots of problems with this. There was lots of problems getting clean water and food and electricity to go back on. In Tribble's position as sector lead and deputy director, she reported directly to the federal coordinating officer and was FEMA's primary leader as to the restoration of electric power on the island. Ellison was president of Cobra Acquisitions, the main contractor for the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority, as to recovery work performed following Hurricane Maria. PREPA, the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority, executed 2 contracts with Cobra for a total contract value of approximately $1.845 billion. Billion dollars. Work performed under both contracts was paid through PREPA with funds from FEMA. From October 2017 to April 2019, Tribble and Ellison developed a personal relationship where Ellison provided Tribble with things of value with the intent to influence Tribble's performance of official acts. Ellison provided Tribble with personal helicopter use, hotel accommodations, airfare, personal security services, and the use of a credit card. As part of Ellison's pattern of providing things of value to Tribble, he also secured employment within Cobra's affiliated companies for her friend, Jojo Patterson. In exchange, Tribble performed official acts, including influencing, advising, and exerting pressure on PREPA and FEMA officials in order to award restoration work to Cobra and accelerate payments to Cobra. Count 1 of the indictment charges Tribble and Ellison with a conspiracy to commit bribery in violation of law based on soliciting and giving things of value to Tribble in order to influence Tribble's performance of official acts as a FEMA employee. To further the conspiracy, Tribble and Ellison communicated using private email accounts, private cellular telephones, including a disposable prepaid cellular number, Apple iMessage, and SMS texts rather than FEMA-issued email accounts or cellular telephones. Counts 2 through 5 of the indictment charge Tribble and Ellison with honest services wire fraud in violation of law, pertaining to the defendant's scheme to deprive the United States and its citizens of the honest services of Tribble, a public official. Count 6 of the indictment charges Tribble and Ellison with disaster fraud in violation of law, despite Ellison's duty to disclose to PREPA all information and circumstances of its relationship with third persons and Tribble's duty to refuse gifts from prohibited sources, Tribble and Ellison concealed Tribble's receipt and acceptance of things of value from Ellison. Counts 7 through 10 of the indictment charge Tribble with Travel Act violations prohibited by law pertaining to her use of interstate wire and electronic communications with the intent to promote, manage, establish, and carry on the bribery scheme. Counts 11 and 12 of the indictment charge Ellison with false statements in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1001. On March 15, 2019, Ellison stated to FBI and DHS agents, the Office of Internal Governance, as part of a voluntary interview, that he had no personal relationship with Tribble, was only around her in relation to business. He also stated that he had not taken a helicopter trip with Tribble on or about February 7th, 2018. Both statements were false, and he knew it. Count 13 of the indictment charges Patterson with committing acts affecting personal financial conflicts of interest in violation of law. While Jojo was negotiating employment with Cobra and its affiliates from March to July of 2018, Patterson participated as a FEMA employee in a May 8, 2018 past performance evaluation for Cobra Logistics as part of a vendor bid process. Counts 14 and 15 of the indictment charge Patterson with wire fraud. While negotiating employment with Cobra and its affiliates, Patterson falsely represented her FEMA salary to be calculated based on the Office of Personnel Management's general schedule pay table. In fact, Patterson's salary and GS level were lower. The misrepresentation caused her to be offered an annual salary of $160,000 plus a 30% bonus. Guys, all I gotta do is just be one of these dishonest people, and I could make a lot more money. Shouldn't we be working on paying the honest people and paying them honestly? I really don't understand why we just let corrupt people get away with this stuff for so long. I mean, this is 2019. This was 2 years ago this happened. They're just being charged now. The damage has been done. $1.8 billion of money was potentially misused or miss whatever. We'll see how much of it was, went to things and how much didn't. Defendants Tribble and Ellison are facing a forfeiture allegation, $1 million contained in a Charles Schwab account in the name of Donald Keith Ellison, $3.425 million contained in another account, $71,000, $276,000, $100,000 in other accounts, and a catamaran boat and a Ford F-150 crew cab pickup truck. The defendants were supposed to come to Puerto Rico to help during the recovery after the devastation suffered from Hurricane Maria. Instead, they decided to take advantage of the precarious conditions of our electric power grid and engaged in a bribery and honest services wire fraud scheme in order to enrich themselves illegally. All government officials are entrusted with performing their duties honestly and ethically. The charged offenses are reprehensible, more so in light of PREPA's fiscal crisis. The investigation was a top priority for the Department of Homeland Security Office of Inspector General, that's what OIG means, which dedicated significant personnel and resources over the last year to investigate the defendants and the events outlined in today's indictment. While there is no known cure to permanently rid society of corruption, there are certain powerful antidotes, namely arrests and prosecutions. It was part of and an object of the conspiracy that Ellison, directly and indirectly, would and did corruptly give, offer, and promise a thing of value to a public official, Tribble, with the intent to influence an official act. It was further part of an object of the conspiracy that Tribble, being a public official, directly and indirectly, would and did corruptly demand, seek, accept, give, etc., a thing of value from Ellison. So Tribble solicited and obtained, directly and indirectly, things of value: a helicopter tour, procuring a place to live in New York. Normally in New York, you need to hire a broker to get you an apartment. It can be a lot of money, and a Manhattan apartment could cost a $50,000 brokerage fee to get. The hiring of Jojo Patterson by Cobra Energy, hotel accommodations in Fort Lauderdale, airfare from Miami to Orlando, first-class airfare from San Juan to New York, personal security services, round-trip airfare, hotel accommodations, access to the use and credit card of Donald Keith Ellison, and an apartment located in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So that's interesting. FEMA lawyers finished the review and sent questions back to PREPA yesterday and followed up with a phone call. FEMA Public Assistance Team is analyzing the cost reasonableness information. I worked with the PR governor yesterday on what we need from PREPA to process invoices and asked that PREPA communicate with you on their process. That did not happen. So they enriched themselves at the expense of taxpayers, and now they're going to pay for it, we hope. Usually the FBI doesn't indict people, or the DOJ doesn't indict people unless they actually have everything they need to convict already. Finished apartment approval, but I asked them to add materials and dollars, meeting at 3 p.m. He says something that you can't read and says that that will work. Tried for $500 million and 6 months and lost, but because no one knows how the cost share adjustments will shake out, we will revise in 2 weeks. I just asked all of us to CYA because we know we are going to get to March and stuff won't be done. Let's not have to stop work if we can avoid it. She's obviously, though, talking to Keith Ellison behind the back of the government. Like the people don't get to see what she's doing, but she's acting in an official capacity. And here's the forfeiture stuff. $2 million, a Myco boat trailer, a Caterpillar tractor, a hydraulic excavator, $200,000, a 40-foot catamaran, a pickup truck is all up for forfeiture. So that's some shit, huh? The people who were assigned the duties to help Puerto Rico recover from the hurricane were instead enriching themselves. And you saw that there was lots of news reports that Puerto Rico was not getting the assistance that it needs. So that is something. I hope that those people serve a long time behind bars. So that's our show, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I am Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney. Joining me in the studio is Lucy Cat, who is having a nice nap on her perch there by the window. Thank you to our supporters on patreon.com/ljfrench and sponsors.com/law. You are what makes this channel possible. YouTube is continuing to demonetize our videos. Our revenue is down 28%, even though subs and watch time and views are up about 6 to 10%. So that's something crazy there, that our views would be up and our watch time would be up and our subs would be up, but demonetization is causing our revenue to be down. Even though our videos get manually reviewed and get manually remonetized, of course it never happens when the initial peak of views is happening. It always happens hours or days later. So it's very unfair, and we're looking forward to filing an amicus brief in the DJ Shorty case just as soon as there's something to file an amicus brief on. Usually this will be YouTube's motion to dismiss, I would expect. So we're keeping an eye on that, and we will file a friend of the court brief for that. So thank you very much to our supporters in the month of September. Thank you to Joshua Davis from TandaPay. We are working on the TandaPay video final production here, and it will be out early next week, very likely on Monday itself. Thank you very much to Joshua Davis and TandaPay for your support in the month of September. Thank you very much to our $50 plus supporters: John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Kyle Mudrak, Eevi, Michael Pearce, Spirit Bear, Jan Negrey, Daniel Perez, Snorre Wisotzky, Joe Tyson, and blackleaf. And thank you to the $5 plus supporters who will be scrolling on the screen in front of me, and Brandon will put some Luxembourg video. We have 2.5 hours of Luxembourg video from Saturday. I've put it together into a 1.5 hour thing, and we're going to put labels on it and some graphics and stuff, and then maybe release that so people can watch if they want to see what Luxembourg is like and us walking around. Love you all. Have a great one. Bye.